This is Joe Pugh for IFLTV. We're here in Dublin. Before we start, right, this could be the best interview ever, but it still wouldn't come close.
I messaged Coogan on Sunday, yeah? I said, because it was a really weird night. I was sitting on the train on the way back from Manchester to London, and I'm thinking, crikey, what a mad night. And then it was like I'd forgotten, and it popped up. So if you haven't seen it, please do go back and look at it. Give Joe a few more views on top of his millions. That is the maddest interview I've ever done. So Darren Till, ranting and raving straight out the ring, literally hopped over the ropes to have a chat with us. Then I've got the world's strongest man coming up after us, Eddie Hall, who's calling out Dylan Dennis on our interview. And then then we had the world's smallest man coming after us as well. And what a fella he is. Did you see his outfit? I know. Amazing, you know. So go back and look at that interview. It's only about 3 minutes long, isn't it?
The best thing about that is you could have said to that person, the little person, I hope that's the right way of saying it, anything, but you said, Mick Conlan back in Dublin next week.
I just felt I had to talk about Dublin then. You know, it's like I leave a ring, you know, event's over, and you know, I'm on to the next one. And here we are in Dublin, Friday night, live on Channel 5 with Labrooks and our wonderful new partners, Oosh, presenting the first ever time that we are going to see Mick Conlan, the prodigal son of Ireland, the man who has been round the world and now he's in Ireland Friday night, facing the Englishman, BATESON. I mean, you can't make it up. You know, this. If you came in from Mars and heard, you know, and you saw Mick Conlan, you'd expect two things. One, that he's been a world champion, and two, that he's boxed in Dublin. We're going to tick the second box on Friday night, and we're going to march on from there, and we're going to go get that world title.
Well, I've got a cab from the airport this morning, and there's a real buzz about this Friday night. So why are you here? We're doing a bit of work on the box. You know, Mick Conlan's fighting, and yeah, it's going to be big on Friday night, isn't it?
I mean, big is an understatement. I mean, it's so bizarre, but it's so special that this is only happening now. And it is in this chapter of his career, which is, you know, the special chapter, not the special one, the special chapter. It's high stakes, you know. Could have probably picked a much easier opponent for a homecoming fight. BATESON coming over with a lot of fans. It's going to be some atmosphere Friday night, and it's a live fight as well. But you know, featherweight, aren't many easy fights, and you know, where do we go if we get through Friday? Where do we go? And people are asking that question, and I'm like, mate, we got a historic event Friday night, but also a very, very dangerous fight.
Kind of found out over the past 2 or 3 days that it's unlikely that we'll see Lee Wood, Josh Warrington 2, but surely should Mick come through on Friday night, he could slot into either one of those fights, and either one would be massive.
I think you know, obviously the Lee Wood rematch, but Josh Warrington has been talked about for a long time as well. They're both massive arena fights, arguably stadium fights, and they're huge. You know, so it's about these things happen in weird ways. You know, time will tell what route we go down, whether it's a fight like that, an absolute British blockbuster, or it's a world title fight. And you know, the nice thing is that you know there's a lot of options out there, which is often the case when you've got a big draw like Mick. You know, he can sell out venues in New York, sort of, you know, biggest arenas in Belfast, now in Dublin. He pulls wherever he goes, so it's very exciting.
Charlie Edwards returns after a very close fight against Andrew Kane. I know It wasn't fireworks, but he done what he felt like he needed to do. Just come up that tiny bit short, but he's coming back down to super fly now, I understand. And yeah, start where you left off with Charlie.
Yeah, you know, Charlie has it all to play for still. You know, he's won a world title. He's been there. He's done it. That fight, you know, sometimes your dance partner and yourself, it doesn't quite hit off. Unfortunately, with me on the dance floor, it's in most cases. With Charlie, luckily enough, it isn't. You know, his fights are normally much more interesting. It was a terrible fight. He'll be the first to admit that. But Charlie's an exciting fighter, an exciting division with lots of options out there. I'd say Charlie Edwards is one of the biggest names in that division. So, you know, let's get through Friday night. Let's get on the right track again, because again, you know, he's been there before. You know, it's not like this is some spring chicken. Charlie knows what he's doing, and he's an exceptional fighter, exceptional character, exceptional guy, exceptional family, and looking forward to moving forward from Friday. Got to get Friday out of the way first, though.
Just run down the rest of the card. Dan Howard returns. You got Kieran Malloy, highly talented prospect from Ireland. It's a deep card. I was looking on BoxRec this morning.
I mean, I looked on the flight over what Nis has put together again. I mean, he loves putting together his 12 fight cards. Yeah, I mean, so
got to leave work early on Friday.
Got to leave work early on Friday. It's live on Channel 5, obviously. The undercards on the website, and around the world outside of the UK will be on Fight TV, available all over the world, exclusively on Fight TV. It's a massive card. The best of Irish boxing coming through, and there's some great talent here. I'm looking forward to seeing them. I've seen most of them on tape before, but it's the first time I'm going to see them on or in the flesh. So looking forward to that. From my side, Dan Howard, of course, very excited to see him. Cody Smith returning as well. But by the way, all the Brits are coming over with quite a little army. Yeah? I think Cody Smith's done 150, 200 tickets to come over here. Yeah? So it's going to be a cauldron here. Yeah? So yeah, no, look, again, I'm excited to see some new talent, but also, you know, talent that I've been working with for a couple of years now. So, you know, very excited to see Dan Howard march on. It's going to be good.
And before we recap last week, Sunday you've got Tom Welland fighting on a top tier card, one of your best prospects, a little Essex homecoming for him.
I'm looking forward to that. Listen, I'm looking forward to every time when Tom Welland fights, actually, because he's never in a bad fight, right? And I said to him, you've got, you know, I know you enjoy, like, you know, but he goes into like fights where he should box and just makes a tear up of it, you know.
He loves it though. He actually loves it.
Just loves a tear up. I'm saying, mate, you know, you're young. Yeah, we don't want you to burn out by the time you're 23. Yeah, and he's taken. It was a fight in the York Hall. I can't remember. And I would chat afterwards. I said, mate, you know. You can take some rounds to have a look at him, you know, use the jab, you know, work off the jab. No, but he's you know, he's an absolute gunslinger, right? But he's changed that a bit. He's toned it down a bit, and you know, it's quite normal when the natural testosterone levels are very high early in the career. But what a talent, yeah? What a talent! Great following out of Essex, and I think definitely a massive star for the future. Tom Welland, remember that name.
Certainly tune in Friday night on Channel 5 and Sunday for Tom Welland. I am there on Sunday.
It's next door to you, isn't it?
Yeah, well, it's my back garden. That's what it is.
It's in your back garden, is it? Like you and Lee.
Me and Lee will definitely be there. Oh yeah, your brother, right, on Saturday night, he was with his daughter, and his daughter tapped Nissa and said, "Dad, is that Lee Eaton's son?" And to me, yeah, she did.
Well, yeah. I mean,
she's not the first person, certainly won't be the last.
It's a compliment now. I mean, 3 years ago, Lee has gone through an absolute transformation. Go and have a look at Lee Eaton 3 years ago. Look at him now. You know, I love his story, Lee's story. You know, he's a
30 on the most powerful people in boxing as well. So,
but you know, he grafts. Lee grafts. You know, he grafts and grafts and grafts. I remember the first time I met him I was doing Josh Taylor up in Edinburgh. And I met him at the ring there, and you know, and it was the first time he introduced himself. But he's so busy, and it's great. He's a fun character to be around. We've had some great times.
Yeah, so have we.
So what I'm saying is, it's a compliment now. It wouldn't have been a compliment 3 years ago, though.
Yeah, let's just recap last week. I know you said at the start when you was on the train on the way home talking about our video, but when you are sitting on the train home reflecting on a week like last week, where there was so much carnage.
I need a lot longer for last Saturday night, Misfits. Go catch up on the highlights on the Zone or the Misfits page. You need a lot longer than a 2.5 hour train journey, let me tell you that. I'm still deciphering some of it now. I mean, it was just madness, wasn't it? It was like, you know, you had your traditional pro stuff, a great fight, Ty Mitchell beating the number 14 in the world, WBA. You know, so you had Amir Anderson, 10-time US champion, so it's some nice pro fights on there. Now I'll start with the normal stuff. Then you've gone into like this Hagler-Hearns war of misfits between Joey Essex and Numero. Then you've got Dylan Dennis in the first MMA fight, you know, over in 15 seconds, madness. You've got, I don't know, Chase Moore fighting some Polish guy, and it's kicked off. I was outside talking to an official when it was going on, and I was like, I got the Polish guy running towards me with a split lip, and he started kicking off backstage. I'm thinking, did he win or lose? I've got no idea. It was just sheer madness, and then it takes you in. You're not even near the main event yet, even. You know, then you've got like Saul Pappy fighting the legend Tony Ferguson. Yeah. And then, of course, you look at like Darren Till absolutely doing a number on the UFC champ Luke Rockhold, right? I mean, but when I say doing a number, I mean that was a showreel knockout, one of the most impressive live knockouts I think I've ever seen. It was phenomenal. So, you know, and I've probably missed out loads of other things, you know, on there as well. You know, I said on the Sunday, I said, really, the only words that come out of my mouth on Sunday were, like, after the exhaustion of it, I was so impressed with the people who laced them up for the first time, like Joey, Demi Sims. Demi Sims, I think her opponent had a fight before, I don't know either, but either way, just like these young people who have got the watermelons to go and actually do it. Not talk it, go and do it, you know. And you know, I have a message with Joey on Sunday and with Demi as well. But I don't know. I haven't actually spoken to him yet. I've got to give him a call this week. I don't know how he's feeling now, because I mean he gave it. Didn't give him his everything. He gave him his everything and a bit more. And Numero as well. You know,
I'd love to have him back, right? When you see someone give that.
I mean, you would, but again, it's a little bit like you can't. It's not like a pro boxer who's come from the amateurs where it's all right, lad. When you getting out next? No, you've got to give him his space, mate. He might not. He might be one and done. He might want to do 20 more. I don't know. And you know, I'm not going to stand there and go, oh, you should do this, do that. No. He's got a lovely family, great people around him. Tony Sims knows what he's doing. And he's blessed like that. You know, he could be in a lonely spot now, but I think he's got great people around him, and he'll know what he wants to do next. You know, he's got. Thing is, he's also very lucky. He's got so many options of what he can do. But you know, before the fight, he was telling me, no, this fight and that. You know, he had it all mapped out. You know, as Mike Tyson says, it all changes once you've taken one. But he seemed to really enjoy it as well. So, but you know, I'm hoping he comes back, because I think there's lots more we could do with him.
KALLE, you know as well as I do, this is certainly Misfits more than anything. It's all about numbers. And Carl FROCH and Darren Till, that's just astronomical, from the reactions to the kickoffs. Is it going to happen?
Wow, if I was a betting man, I'd probably say yeah. I think it's going to happen. But that's not based on, any contract discussions yet. We're not at that stage yet because it's really KALLE who came. He came to have a look, in my opinion. He came up to have a look, have a smell, have a feel. He liked the product, like he said on his podcast afterwards. Was impressed with Misfits. I've made enough fights with KALLE over many, many years. We go back. We've got some history, but I was going to buy the pay-per-view on the basis of that. He has got a real story with Darren Till here, a real story, and it's now a question of does he want to walk the walk? That's not in a way. KALLE doesn't have to prove anything to anyone. I totally agree with him on that. He's won 4 world titles, Hall of Fame. And, of course, beating my man in front of 80,000 people. Don't worry, KALLE. Don't want any legal letters because I didn't mention that, so I'll put that in there as well. But he's done it. He's ticked all the boxes. So what's he doing it for? He said himself, he's doing it for the old moolah, right? Is it enough? Don't know. And then he also says something quite interesting in the interview. He says he needs to know, can he even do it? One is the money, of course, but can he even do it? And that's, I can sit here and tell you what I think he's going to do it. But at the same time, I don't know because I'm not KALLE. I'm not that. He says himself, he looks in terrific nick. In fact, he looks better than when he was fighting. He was always quite drained when he was fighting. He looks fantastic now in that lovely suede jacket of his. Well, that was so funny. I wasn't going to take my suede jacket off.
Eating his apple as well.
It took me back years with KALLE. He's a great talker. The build-ups that I've had with KALLE over the years. So I would nostalgically be very excited to do this.
What's a bigger fight and what's more likely? Darren Till versus KALLE FROCH or Darren Till versus Tommy Fury?
I think they're very similar. I think they're very similar opportunities. I think that Tommy's been told he's not interested in doing that fight. It's categorically. So you'd have to ask Tommy, or John, who does a lot of the talking out from that camp. I don't know. I don't know. I mean, that fight is enormous. It was big when we announced it. It was big, but it's not double, it's 10x, what that event could go and do on pay-per-view and at the gate is phenomenal. But I think the KALLE one probably is going to get more of the traditional fans involved as well.
People were talking about it on TalkSport. People were talking about it on all traditional platforms.
I was on TalkSport yesterday with Jordan and White talking about it. It's like the cabbie on the way to the airport this morning said to me, is that fight happening? So when people are talking about it, and you get the questions, is that fight going to happen? Is that fight? So I don't know, promoters have this. It's just sort of, I've got little gauges, and they're not scientific. It's like I've got a postman. I get on well with my postman. The postman asked me about a fight, and because he's sort of like a fringe boxing fan, and I always know, right, okay, well, if he's interested, then it's a good gauge. I've got little gauges like that. I sort of set traps for it, and I can tell how big a fight is. That fight's huge, massive.
Right, KALLE, thank you very much. The presser's not too far away. Tune in Friday night, Mick Conlan versus Jack Bateson. It's going to be big.
It's going to be historic. Live on Channel 5 Friday night. Not Saturday night, Friday night.
Thank you very much, mate.